The fourth question, how does a woman make ghusl for the following? Menses, birth of a child, sexual intercourse, or ejaculation, Friday prayer, Eid. There are a number of reasons why a woman makes ghusl. When does she take a bath, or how does she take a bath for each of these? As if she understands for each one is a different methodology of taking a bath, and that is not the case. Rather, it's all the same. She takes a bath the same way for all of those things, by first doing istinja. If she's going to do al-ghusl al-kamil, the most complete ghusl, she begins by wiping her private parts, by washing, her private parts, and then she makes a complete wudu after washing her hands, after washing the private parts, washing the hands, make a complete wudu, and then she pours water over her head and the rest of her body, right side first, and she completes the bath. That's called al-ghusl al-kamil, the complete ghusl, following the way the Prophet ﷺ did it. There's also something called al-ghusl al-mujzi, that is the ghusl that suffices. It's sufficient. It's a minimum ghusl, a minimum bath, and that is that you cover your entire body with water, and some scholars add that you take water into your mouth and nose. That's the least minimum required ghusl. Then we come to the issue of, does a woman have to undo her braids or not? And the hadith of Salama radiyallahu anha negates that she asked, does she have to undo her braids? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her that it's sufficient for her just to pour water, 3 pourings of water over her head, and to complete the bath that way. And he did not require her to undo her braids. Some scholars, they say undoing the braids is recommended or urged at the bath, which is when a woman comes off of her menses or after postnatal bleeding. Some say if the hair is very thick and the thickness of the hair prevents the water from reaching the scalp, that in that case the braids should be undone. And Allahu Tabarak wa Ta'ala knows best. And I'll mention in response to this last question a number of reasons why we would take a bath or be required or recommended to take a bath. The question concludes here, if there's anything else that she should perform ghusl for, please elaborate on what and how to perform ghusl. So with our brothers here, I'll say that I have, from what I know of the sunnah and what the scholars recommend, sometimes they recommend something from the general guidance of the sunnah without a specific hadith. I know of 14 occasions that you are either required or recommended to take a full body bath. Let's see if we can put them all together or come close. What do you say, Abdul Hamid? Throw them out there. Put them together. Just say when a bath is legislated, whether that legislation means you have to or it's recommended. When should you take a bath or when must you take a bath? Put it all together. All right, after intercourse. Coming off of the menses. 2. Coming off of postpartum bleeding after childbirth. That's 3. What is it? Wet dream. A wet dream, aywa inzalul mani. Let's say khurujul mani, whether it's wet dream, nocturnal, daytime. Yeah, that includes wet dream. The emission of seminal fluid. That's for men or women. And ejaculation. Okay, so we've got 4 now. 5? Yeah, we do have 5. More? Yawmul Jumu'ah. The scholars differ over whether it's recommended or obligatory. What seems to be most correct is that it's recommended, not absolutely obligatory. But it's haqqun wajibun ala kulli Muslim. It's a very highly stressed right. Right, R-I-T-E, religious rite of Friday. Yeah? What else? Eid. Ahsan. So we've got Jummah, we've got the Eid. We're going to count both Eids as one thing. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. We mean Salat al-Eid specifically. Not the days of Eid, but Salat al-Eid specifically. Just like Salat al-Jummah. Got any Hanif? It's Jima'. Yeah, that's intercourse. The definition of intercourse is penetration. Whether it was completed or not, by either party or both. As soon as there's penetration, إِذَا الْتَقَى الْخِتَانَانِ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلُ. When the 2 private parts that are circumcised meet, then there is a ghusl due. Mustahada, the one with ongoing bleeding.
What's recommended is the wudu, but
Aywa.
what I heard, it is recommended if she can, it's easy to do it.
Tayyib. Let's put this under one that's more general and includes that. It's called taghayyur al-badan. When your body gets really nasty, male or female, you're a stank guy right now. You just played basketball, you're sweaty and nasty. Yeah? So it's taghayyur, like you have a smell. And it's not because of any of the previous things. No menses, no semen, no sex, nothing like that. And it's not Jummah, it's not the Eid. I'm taking a bath now because I really smell bad. And I need to freshen up. That's one of them. Scholars mention that. And notice there's no hadith really behind that. But you have to say that's from the Tuhuru Shatrul Iman, that cleanliness is half of Iman. From the generality of that, you can't smell bad like that in need of a shower and you say, well, it's not Friday. And I didn't have intercourse, so I'm not taking, and you just really smell bad. You add to that the prohibition of eating garlic and onion, and what's behind that of meaning and all of that. Tayyib. There's one that's specific for a certain country. It's only obligatory on you, or it's only legislated for you if you're in a certain country. And that country's in the Middle East too. I'm not making it up. It's real. So then 2 of them are like this. 3 of them actually. 3 out of the 14 are for a country, for Saudi Arabia specifically. Yes, Islam requires you to take a bath in Saudi Arabia for some instances. Making umrah, not requires, I said requires, right? Requires/recommend. Recommends you to have a bath before putting on your ihram, whether it's hajj or umrah. Yeah? They call that the ghusl of ihram. It's not required, and some people go overboard with that. They won't proceed forth on their umrah without a fresh bath. And that is difficulty in the religion for many people. But if it's easy, then you take a bath before putting on the ihram. You put perfume on and things like that. So that's before putting on ihram. As well, exiting ihram. I don't know of any sunnah for that. Exiting ihram. You're close to something else though that's related to the ihram. Kan Abdullah ibn Umar يغتسل إذا دخل Mecca. Ibn Umar used to make ghusl for entering Mecca, and the meaning of that is for tawaf al-ziyara or tawaf al-ifada. The tawaf of arrival. Making a ghusl for that specifically. And they said as well, tawaf al-wada'. For the farewell tawaf. This is the house of Allah. Right? That you dress up for and you decorate yourself. وَخُذُوا زِينَتُكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ. And he put on your adornments, your arraignments at every masjid. Al-Masjid al-Haram, awla. Yeah? Okay, so tawaf al-ifada, tawaf al-wada', and entering ihram. Those are 3. Those are for Saudi Arabia. It's about 10 or 11, all right. What about when you accept Islam? Aywa, scholars mention the recommended nature, some of them say obligatory, nature of taking a bath for a new Muslim. And it seems pretty clear that if that new Muslim is in a state of janaba, and how would he not be, really? He hasn't taken a bath, no matter how long it's been. You know what I mean? He hasn't taken a bath, so how would he be? Is there a non-Muslim that's accepting Islam that's never had an ejaculation? And maybe a kid, I guess, but in reality, adults, that's not even conceivable. So that sort of helps us lean towards the position that new Muslims should be taking baths before they begin to pray and all of that. And the angle of it not being obligatory is that Islam wipes away all of the previous actions. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. We have 2 things related to dying. Yeah, the dead person himself, it's obligatory on his awliya to give him a bath. The washing of the dead. Yeah, and the one who washes. But there's differing over the authenticity of the hadith, which requires the one who washes the deceased, right? And it is very likely that it's not authentic. And a number of scholars have said decisively there's nothing authentic established that requires or recommends someone to have a bath after washing a dead person. And Allah Ta'ala knows best, but that's mentioned now from my 14. What's left? Some of the Salaf used to take a bath for what they hoped would be Laylatul Qadr. Yeah, so they would go to the masjid for the evening prayers and stand in prayer after a fresh bath. meaning hoping that would be Laylatul Qadr. So we have all of them there, I think, yeah? إنزال المني والجماع والحيض والنفاس والجمعة والعيد والموت والإسلام ودفن ميت والإحرام وليلة القدر وتغير البدن وطواف الإفاضة والوداع. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.